now for being here today. Really appreciate all of you. Thanks to you at home for watching as well. We really appreciate you. Don't go anywhere, though, because Jake Tapper is standing by for the lead. Hi, Jake.
Hey, Casey, 6 more days until pitchers and catchers, by the way.
Please, I need it. The snow is killing me. Let's bring on the baseball.
We'll look for more tomorrow in the arena.
Thanks, you too.
Fulton County, Georgia is punching back. The lead starts right now. The FBI is facing a brand new lawsuit from Fulton County, Georgia, 1 week after its raid, seizing boxes of ballots and other information from the 2020 election. Trump observers fear that the president is trying to set up an excuse to interfere in the midterm elections later this year. Is this latest back and forth just the beginning? A Fulton County official believes some arrests could be next. Plus, President Trump's new warning to the leaders of Iran, saying the supreme leader should be very worried. Is the president raising the stakes with the talks set for Friday? And in the disappearance of the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, what clues a disconnected iPhone and pacemaker might provide as this desperate search stretches into day 4? Welcome to the lead. I'm Jake Tapper. We're going to start in our politics lead. Fulton County, Georgia wants its 2020 election ballots back. County officials have filed a federal court challenge seeking the return of the 2020 election ballots that the FBI seized last week. Not only was Fulton County at the center of President Trump's bogus and completely disproven 2020 election fraud claims, but Trump this week is also saying that he wants Republicans to take over elections in Atlanta and other counties and states that he lost in 2020, even though the U.S. Constitution is pretty clear that the states have the power to run federal elections. Now, little is publicly known about how the Justice Department under Pam Bondi justified this warrant. So Fulton County wants the judge in Atlanta to unseal the investigative affidavit that agents submitted to get that search warrant. Here's a look at Fulton County Police body cam footage obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It shows confusion during this FBI raid last week.
The warrant will be amended slightly, but for all intents and purposes, what they had is what it's going to look like. We wanted to let her facilitate us moving through the building to unlock the gates so that we don't have to breach it, because one way or the other, the records are coming with us today.
So many unusual things about this. One of them, of course, you'll recall that the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, was present for the raid, instructed to be there by President Trump. Gabbard later put the president on the phone to talk to those FBI agents, according to sources, which is unusual, if not entirely inappropriate. Gabbard says the president did not ask questions or issue any directives on the call. But today, the chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, Rob Pitts, gave his take on Tulsi Gabbard's presence.
That leads me to believe, and any rational thinking person, that there's something sinister going on here. There's something bigger than just the FBI confiscating the records that they took.
Pitts also said something else that is raising alarm bells.
I received a call on Monday before last Wednesday, before the raid, that there were going to be arrests in Georgia. Secretary of State, his deputy, Sterling, I believe his name is, me and 2 or 3 others. I received another call, actually it was this Monday, same source, saying that you guys can't relax. Even though the FBI has been there and they've confiscated the 700 boxes, arrests are coming.
The lead reached out to the Justice Department, and their reply was no comment. Let's go to CNN's Kristen Holmes at the White House. And Kristen, this has been a continuous topic for the president, and now it seems as though he's going to try to use these delusional and disproven election claims about 2020 as a way to justify interfering in elections in areas that he lost that time in the midterms.
Yeah, and we've been reaching out about what specifics the White House can give us, because I will remind you that the press secretary actually came out to a gaggle and defended the fact that Tulsi Gabbard was there, not only saying that the president had directed her to go down to Atlanta, but also citing something that we had not heard before, which was this idea that Gabbard has been tasked with election integrity and security as one of her key priorities. That was not something that we were aware of at the time, and she says that the FBI is working hand in hand with Director of National Intelligence, with Tulsi Gabbard, as they work towards this kind of election security. But the reason why that itself was so confusing is the fact that the Department of Justice said they had no idea why Gabbard was on the ground. But clearly, this is part of the beginning of an effort of President Trump to continue to try to hunt answers for what he believes was him being wronged in 2020 and losing the election, which of course there is no evidence of, but also this perpetuation of an idea that perhaps he believes he could nationalize elections, which, as we have noted, is against the Constitution.
All right, Kristen Holmes, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Let's discuss this with Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. He is the vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Senator, do you think Fulton County's legal challenge to the Trump administration will be successful? And is it possible that there was some sort of wrongdoing that actually warranted this search warrant?
You know, Jake, I don't know. I have seen no evidence. And let's go through what we do know. The Director of National Intelligence, who has no responsibility for domestic criminal investigations, shows up at this serving of the warrant. Is there no role? If there was a foreign influence issue, her obligation is to tell the committee. She's told us nothing. And then the following day goes out and gets the president on the phone to talk to the FBI agents who are doing the investigation. I know Donald Trump doesn't know anything about the Constitution, but wouldn't you have thought somebody in the White House would say, don't talk to the frontline investigators? We just had some of these questions raised in a hearing, and part of the excuse was, well, that the president had asked Gabbard to get engaged. Well, if he'd asked her, why was the president even aware of a search warrant being issued? I mean, the president of the United States is not supposed to be weighing in before any even indictments. This is, remember, I keep saying indictment. It was just servicing a search warrant. What in the hell is the president of the United States doing, knowing about that, and then asking the Director of National Intelligence, who has no role, to show up here?
Yeah. I want you to listen to what your Republican colleague, Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina, said when asked about Trump saying earlier this week that he wanted Republicans to take over elections in 15 areas that he lost.
Actually, it has its roots with Stephen Miller, none other. And I'm as against nationalized election now as I was back in 2022 when the Democrats tried to do it. There's simply not votes. That's why, if nothing else, Stephen Miller really needs to get back to us. He's probably focused too much on his Duke education and should go back to third grade math. My granddaughter can figure out we don't have the votes to get that done.
So tell us his reference to 2022. That's a reference to Democrats trying to pass legislation having to do with voting, making it easier to vote, et cetera, seizing control of doing the elections, controlling the elections in 15 places is quite different. But either way, do you share Tillis's confidence that there simply aren't the votes there? Trump can't make this happen.
Thank goodness, at least on this issue, Leader Thune stood up and said, no, you can't go against the Constitution. And the incredible thing is, Jake, you know this, even when entities like the Cybersecurity Agency tried to help local election systems have better cybersecurity standards, we had pushback from local Republican officials saying, hey, we don't want the feds to be involved at all. So I know we're in the Alice in Wonderland, up is down and down is up, but this is beyond wacky and bizarre. And whether it's Stephen Miller or whatever this crowd of folks who don't know the law, who don't respect any of our principles, and sure as heck don't have any respect for the basic integrity of our election system,
Yeah.
You know, a year ago when people raised these concerns, I thought, well, no, that's a little overfetched. It's not outlandish and fetched. I think there is at least a crowd in the White House that wants to take away the ability to have votes fairly counted and cast. And candidly, I go back again, with this very thin, non-released basis for issuing this search warrant, what in the heck is the President of the United States knowing about that beforehand, and why in the heck would he send the Director of Foreign Intelligence gathering to that effort, especially since, just quick, I know my time's up, but you know, this crowd already got rid of the FBI Foreign Election Influence Center. They got rid of the ODNI, Director of National Intelligence Foreign Election Center. They have done nothing to protect our elections in the last year other than focus on Donald Trump's obsession about his loss.
So you're part of the Gang of Eight, which is leaders of Congress, Democrats and Republicans, and also leaders of the intelligence committees. Yesterday, you reviewed a classified whistleblower complaint involving the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Now, Gabbard's office has called the complaint baseless and politically motivated. I know it's classified. Is there anything you can tell us? Do you have concerns about the contents of the complaint? Is it credible?
Well, Jake, I can't, unlike a lot of folks in the White House, unlike the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, I think classified information ought to stay classified. I can't comment on what I saw. I can tell you this, it was way overly redacted, which makes it hard to draw a substantive conclusion. But I can tell you this, the process, and I'll have more to say about this in the coming days, but the process is not optional. You get a whistleblower complaint, and if the whistleblower wants the complaint to go to Congress, it's supposed to be transmitted in 21 days. This complaint was filed in May. Somebody's not telling the truth about what they knew or who knew the law or didn't know the law. Either Tulsi Gabbard is completely ignorant of the law, or her lawyers didn't tell her the truth or lied to her, because there is now a chain that raises huge concerns about the process, even beyond the substance of the complaint, about how this was handled and why this whistleblower's complaint literally appears to have been squashed for months on end. And the only reason I got a chance, it was actually today, to look at it, was because the full Gang of Eight, including the Speaker of the House and Majority Leader Thune and Tom Cotton, all said, hey, cut the crap. We gotta see this.
Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Coming up, the response from Vice President J.D. Vance when asked if he should apologize to the family of Alex Priddy, the ICU nurse shot and killed last month by federal agents in Minneapolis. Vance, as you might recall, retweeted an accusation that Priddy was an assassin with no evidence. In Arizona right now, dark times and faith tested by the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, how the community there is using the power of prayer in hopes of her